twin suns of Valcora cast amber and violet shadows across the military outpost where the war had finally ended. In the grand hall carved from living stone, 7 alien women stood displayed like trophies, their blue skin gleaming under bioluminescent light, their pointed ears catching every whispered judgment. 6 stood tall and beautiful in olive green wraps, ceremonial rope at their biceps. But one sat apart on the cold floor, heavier, rounder, her body marked with scars no one wanted to understand. The soldiers laughed and pointed at her, their voices echoing off ancient walls. But one man stood silent at the back, his uniform still stained with ash, his eyes fixed not on the beautiful captives, but on the broken one they had forgotten. What he was about to do would rewrite the meaning of honor across the galaxy. Before we start, subscribe now so you don't miss more incredible stories like this one. Oh, and before we dive in, tell us in the comments where you are watching this video from. We love hearing from you and always read every message. Captain Marcus Chen pressed his back against the stone wall of the Valcoran Victory Hall, watching his fellow soldiers celebrate with bottles and shouts that bordered on feral. The 7 Na'vi women had been brought from detention that morning. 6 stood in perfect formation, their slender bodies magnificent even in defeat. But the 7th sat separated by cruelty's consensus, soft, round, her face turned downward in permanent shame. "Look at that one," Lieutenant Rodriguez shouted, gesturing with his bottle. "They sent us their rejects."
"What are we supposed to do with that?"
Laughter erupted like gunfire. Someone threw a piece of fruit that landed near her knee. She didn't move, didn't even flinch. Her stillness was absolute, as if she had learned long ago that any reaction would only feed the cruelty. "Each platoon leader chooses one as compensation for service," Colonel Hastings announced from the center of the hall. The Na'vi Council agreed to this as part of the surrender terms. Consider it a spoil of war. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. Spoils of war, as if sentient beings could be divided like ration packs. One by one, leaders made their selections from the 6 standing women, examining them like livestock, occasionally lifting a chin or inspecting an arm. Each time they passed over the sitting woman without a glance, stepping around her like furniture. "Chen, you're up." Last pick. The hall fell into anticipatory silence. Marcus pushed off from the wall and walked forward, his boots echoing on stone. He stopped in front of the one on the floor. She looked up slowly, and Marcus saw not the broken resignation he expected, but a depth of sadness so profound it seemed to pull at reality itself. Her eyes were the color of deep ocean trenches. "This one," Marcus said quietly. "I choose this one." The hall erupted in chaos, but while they laughed, her eyes shimmered faintly as if holding a truth older than the stars. "Chen, you hit your head in that last battle," Major Torrance called out. The tall one still available. "We can override this if you're having some kind of episode." "I'm fine. I've made my choice." "He's made his choice," Rodriguez howled. Chen's into the big girls. Who knew? Maybe he's planning to eat well. She looks like she hasn't missed a meal. The cruelty cut deep. Marcus had served with these men for 3 years, had bled with them. Now he saw them clearly for the first time. Colonel Hastings pushed through, face red. "Captain Chen, I'm giving you one opportunity to reconsider." "This goes on your permanent record." "I understand. Sir, the promotion board will question your judgment, your fitness for command. Then they'll question it." "Sir," a junior officer approached with a datapad. "Captain, for the record, please state your selection clearly." Marcus looked down at her. She was trembling, her hands gripping her knees. "Her name? What's your name?" The hall fell silent. No one had asked before. Her lips moved, barely a whisper. "Nera. My name is Nera. I select Nera." "Nera of the Ash Branch clan," she whispered, and there was pride in it that had survived everything. "Selection confirmed," the officer said. "She's now your legal responsibility." Marcus extended his hand. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said in halting Na'vi. Her eyes widened in shock. She stared at his hand, then slowly placed her warm palm in his. He helped her stand. She was a head taller, swaying as if she hadn't stood much lately. They walked toward the exit through a sea of mocking faces. Someone started a slow clap, sarcasm thick enough to choke on. As they reached the doorway, an alarm wailed. "Security alert. Incident in detention block C." "No!" Nera breathed, terror absolute. My daughter is in block C." No one believed they would even try, but the silence that followed spread across the chamber like a storm. Your daughter? You have a child in detention? Marcus's training took over.
Please.
Nera gripped his arm desperately. She is only 8 cycles. They separated us 3 days ago. They said I was not fit to care for her. Not fit because of my weight. Marcus made a career-ending decision. Come on, we're going to Block C. They ran, Marcus sprinting while Nera moved as quickly as she could, breathing labored but determined. The base was chaos, soldiers running, officers shouting orders. They reached Block C in 4 minutes. 3 Na'vi prisoners lay stunned on the floor. A security team had formed a barrier, weapons drawn. Through transparent doors, Marcus saw small figures darting between cells. Sir, Lieutenant Erickson rushed over. Na'vi children bypassed the locks. They're looking for something. We can't calm them down. They don't speak standard. Marcus turned to Nera. Can you talk to them? Yes, but I do not see Kira. She pressed against the barrier. Kira, I am here. One small figure stopped, turned, ran toward the door. Mama, they said you were gone. Never, my star. Never. The child pressed small hands against the barrier where her mother's rested. 10 other children gathered behind her, faces streaked with tears. Sir, we can't open the doors, Erickson said. Protocol. Protocol says we treat them humanely. How is separating children from mothers humane? Open them now. The doors slid open. The child crashed into Nera's arms, small and malnourished and desperate. Nera sank to her knees, wrapping her daughter close. The other children crowded around. An older child spoke in halting standard. Are you taking Kira away? They took all the mothers. They said mothers were dangerous. Marcus crouched down. What's your name? Sura. Sura, I'm going to reunite you with your families, but I need your help. Will you help me? Sura studied him with ancient eyes. Promise on your ancestors you won't let them take the mothers again. Marcus thought about all the promises his people had broken. I promise on my ancestors, on my honor as a soldier. Footsteps echoed, heavy, multiple, moving fast. Colonel Hastings arrived with security, face purple. Chen, what the hell are you doing? Marcus stood, keeping himself between Hastings and the children. Following the Valkyrian Treaty, sir. Article 7, Section 3. All non-combatant prisoners housed consistent with familial needs. These children need their mothers. You have no authority to countermand detention protocols. Actually, sir, I do. Nera's under my legal responsibility. That includes her dependent child per subsection 14b. I'm exercising my right to immediate family integration. Captain Winters stepped forward. Colonel, he's right. I've reviewed the treaty. Shen's interpretation is legally sound. If we're holding family separately, we're in violation. The Na'vi Council could nullify the entire surrender. Hastings calculated regulations versus politics. Fine. Process family integration for all juveniles. But Chen, this is on your record. Any problems are yours. As the crowd dispersed, Nera's daughter, Kira, studied Marcus. Are you the one who chose Mama? Yes, even though she's fat. Kira, Nera gasped. But Marcus smiled. Your mama isn't fat. She survived something difficult. Her body tells a story worth knowing. The other soldiers laughed. I know, but I didn't. Why? Because seeing people for who they are is harder than laughing, and I try to do hard things. Kira nodded seriously. Okay, you can stay. And just when everyone thought they would break, something was revealed that no one expected. Marcus looked at the destroyed photos, the hate smeared across his walls, and the cost of seeing clearly when everyone else chose blindness. Winters stood at the doorway with a duffel bag. Might need somewhere to stay tonight. I've got an extra bunk. Winters, don't. Just come on. You know this is just the beginning, right? It's going to get worse. I know. And you're still going through with it? Marcus stared at the wreckage of his room and nodded. Yeah, I am. Winters clapped him on the shoulder. Then you're either the bravest man I know or the dumbest. Possibly both. Come on. As they walked away, Marcus thought about Nera and Kira, about the title he'd been given, about the bridge he was building between two worlds that wanted to remain separate. And as they left, no one dared laugh again, for they finally understood what they had witnessed. 6 months later, the Valkyrian peace accords were signed in the same hall where Marcus had made his choice. The treaty had evolved from a simple surrender into a genuine coexistence framework. Article 12, The Chen Provision established protection protocols for prisoners, mandated family integration for all detainees, and created oversight committees with representatives from both species. Marcus stood at the ceremony in his dress uniform, though the insignia had changed. He had not been promoted as expected, but reassigned to the newly formed Interspecies Relations Division, a position that technically didn't exist within the military hierarchy. Neither rank nor role, just liaison Chen. Nera stood beside him in traditional Na'vi formal wear, her body draped in woven fabrics that celebrated rather than hid her form. She had begun teaching the healing arts again, training both Na'vi and human medics in techniques neither species had fully understood alone. Her students came from everywhere, some drawn by her skill, others by the story of the woman who had been last chosen and became most honored. Kira played in the corner with children of both species, their laughter cutting through the formal atmosphere like light through shadow. "Do you regret it?" Nera asked quietly as the human and Na'vi leaders exchanged ceremonial pens. "What you gave up?" Marcus thought about his military career, effectively ended, about friends who no longer spoke to him, family back on Earth who struggled to understand his choices, about nights he woke from nightmares where he was still standing in that hall, still choosing, still burning his life down for a stranger. "Every day," he admitted. Nera's expression fell. "And every day," Marcus continued, "I wake up and see you teaching healers from both species to save lives together. I see Kira laughing with children who would have grown up hating each other. I see this," he gestured to the treaty signing. "And I know that none of it would have happened if someone hadn't chosen to see differently." "You think too much of your choice," Nera said gently. It was one moment that changed everything, for you, for those children, for me. Maybe that's all any of us get. One moment where we choose to be better than we were. One moment where we see clearly. Council Leader Ikora approached, her formal robes rustling. "O Matakaya, the representatives wish to speak with you. Both sides have concerns that require a bridge." "They always do," Marcus said, but he was smiling. As he moved toward the delegation tables, Nera caught his hand. "Marcus, thank you for choosing me, for seeing me. Thank you for letting me." They separated, moving into their respective roles, her toward the medical delegation, him toward the political one. Two people who had once been last and least now stood at the center of something larger than themselves. In the hall where it had all begun, where laughter had once echoed with cruelty, a new sound rose, the sound of two species learning to speak the same language, learning to see each other, learning that the strongest bridges are built not from stone or steel, but from the courage to choose dignity over dominance. And somewhere in the Valkyran sunset, in the space between amber and violet light, the universe shifted just slightly, recalibrating itself around the truth that one choice, one moment of seeing clearly, could echo across worlds. In a universe built on power, sometimes a single act of compassion is enough to shift the stars themselves,